boys and nerds all at once.
Hello, welcome back. It's time to do another video. Someone asked me weeks ago, I'm pretty sure, to do a re-up, I guess, on my Chase Claypool rookie review from the off-season. And since we're spiraling headfirst towards the off-season pretty soon, I thought now's a good time to get back to making YouTube videos. So yeah, let's talk about Chase Claypool's rookie season, which has been great. Frankly, he's been a really good rookie season. Ranks 25th overall based on one method I developed to, rank rookie seasons to see how well players have done. So the question is, having rewatched my Chase Claypool rookie video, what did I miss? I think it's fair to say I was low on him. And the simple answer is I ask that question when I'm doing rookie evaluations. If this player hits or doesn't hit, what did I miss? So I feel pretty covered. I think that original video, I stand by it. I don't think I missed anything. I think his college profile was terrible, honestly. But obviously his rookie season isn't. So let's take a look at him. Over here you can see his market share of team receiving yards plotted against the average for top 24 wide receivers. Actually, it's wide receivers who have scored at least 150 PPR points in a single season, so it's a little bit lower threshold than top 24. But I kind of like it as the screenshot, if you will, of what a college profile looks like. Everything I think is going to start spiraling towards using market share, using yards per team pass attempt or yards per team attempt, or at least I'm going to start moving more that way. But as you can see, every year of his career he was below the average at every age, and wide receiver production really needs to be adjusted by age. So if we take a look at his rookie season, just so I'm pointing out the good things. As you can see, since 2009, his rookie season, based on his fantasy points per game, yards per team pass attempt, points per game, and market share of targets in the NFL in his rookie year, is really good. There's no way of saying, as everyone who's been playing him constantly this year, he's got 70% of his games over double-digit PPR points. He's got multiple top 20-point games. I would say he's got about the same number of 20-point games as Curtis Samuel, who's his easiest current NFL comparison, despite being built very differently. Curtis Samuel is a lot smaller. Chase Claypool's a monster. In fact, to the point that me and others even entertain the idea that, we should never really do this. We never see which player is going to actually convert to tight end or another position and do well. We almost never get that right. But as a tight end, he was remarkably productive. As a wide receiver, he was remarkably not productive, which is what made me slightly interested in it. Anyway, in 2020, he's got about a 17% target share. He's scoring points everywhere. He's got 2 rushing touchdowns, the same amount as Curtis Samuel. And so his rookie season, in many ways, comparable to Curtis Samuel's rookie season this year for me. But I still don't like it. Especially at the cost that it's going to take to invest in Dynasty. I tend to hold on to rookie evaluations, mainly because I put so much work into it that I trust them. And over the long view, I think they're going to work out more than 50% of the time, which is better than I can say for most things. But there's no way, to be very clear, there's no real way of me saying he's done badly this year. He's had a fantastic rookie season. Now, if we just look at, randomly, I happen to look at rookie seasons for wide receivers. Since 2009 and the Pittsburgh Steelers, the famed Pittsburgh drafting strategy, Claypool ranks just under Mike Wallace, who had a decent fantasy output and a decent fantasy career, but it's not Juju Smith-Schuster. It was a little better than Deontay's rookie year, also Martavius Bryant, Emmanuel Sanders, Antonio Brown, but notice that he was also drafted like Mike Wallace was. So again, he compares pretty well, especially when you're looking at his draft cost. So to skip back to his rookie profile, just for a second, just for old time's sake. This is why I was a little hesitant on him. He never broke out under the age of 20, and he played multiple seasons. He played 3 seasons with over 8 games. In fact, he played 3 seasons with over 10 games. So he was on the field and playing very heavily. Now, where I'm still largely dependent on market share through my rookie evaluations, that adjusts for players or other analysts saying, well, he was on a bad team or in a bad situation, in a bad conference. Well, if it was so terrible, why didn't he dominate it earlier? And since he's clearly very good, or at least should have been much better at the college level. When you compare him to outliers, and I've been doing a lot of this trying to write a chapter about rookie statistics for Jordan McNamara's upcoming new edition, I guess, or further edition of the Dynasty of Analytics, and that's why I thought Chase Claypool video would be a good timing right now, since it's all fresh in my head as I research it. He compares pretty well to some of those outliers to production metrics, in that he did have a very big dominator in his final year. That 21st, when he was age 21 in his final season, he had over a 30% dominator, which is why he actually gets a breakout age at that 30% threshold that RotoViz likes using so much. And so that's not unnoticeable. And the fact that he's had a great college or rookie season should actually matter a lot more than all of his rookie profiles. I just tend to hold on to him because Kelvin Benjamin's happened. And now, to be clear, I don't think Claypool has a profile that's nearly as bad as Kelvin Benjamin's was, despite his great rookie year, because he did play for the same team at the same conference. He didn't just have one big blow-up year. The other 2 years were underproductive, but they weren't, they weren't terrible college seasons. They were just underproductive compared to past successful players in the NFL when they were in college. But no matter which metric I look at, and the 3 that I've been highlighting for that chapter I'm writing is receiving yards per team pass attempt, also dominator rating and market share of receiving yards all tend to have, especially if you look at their average, some of the highest results were predicting or explaining the variance of points per game in the first 3 rookie seasons. So overall, his rookie profile still suggests that that average that he's going to have from his rookie season will come down over the next 2 years. That puts me in mind, and that's what puts me in mind of Kelvin Benjamin. It's not just his physical makeup or anything else. It's that I kind of trust this rookie profile pretty well. Having said that, I get them wrong. Brandon Marshall, Vincent Jackson, who doesn't quite count because I don't have all of his statistics because he played some years before the year 2000, I'm pretty sure, or he's outside of my rookie sample data at least. It might have been because he was at such a low conference to start his career that I don't have all of them. Because at a certain level I just don't collect the data. Now his draft capital and that 21 breakout age at 30% threshold did give him a 30% chance of hitting in the NFL. So again, it's not like he wasn't noticeable as a college prospect, and I said I did have some interest in him, but again, I was definitely way too low on him. So if we skip over to what that actual season looks like, just one more time, I'll note that he's got great statistics. Again, if you like Claypool, there is nothing in his rookie season that should really stop you liking him. It's really his college profile that holds me back. But if I look at him in Pittsburgh, what I see is the least efficient player. Now, most people I've seen evaluating his season have been pointing to his fantasy points over expected, and he and Juju Smith-Schuster are both literally incredibly productive over a 13-game season so far. To have 2 points over expected in the RotoViz expected points model is phenomenal. But what I'll point out is he's doing it with a 13 ADOT or a 13.3 ADOT, and it's a lot easier. Well, it's not easier, but higher ADOT targets are prone to efficiency because you're getting a lot of yards per target or on a single opportunity. You don't have to catch as many or catch quite as many on a lower target. So Juju Smith-Schuster is essentially being twice as efficient as Chase Claypool, even though some of his stats look equal, if not lesser. And Chase Claypool probably felt better to roster for this season because, again, he had multiple double-digit fantasy points games and PPR scoring earlier in the season, whereas Juju really has just come on later. But Juju's really been outperforming everyone on the depth chart in terms of how well we can assess how good he has been. Now, this all puts you in mind, especially in Pittsburgh, of situations like Sanders and Mike Williams and Antonio Brown all being on the same depth chart. Now, I can't predict trades or roster moves or anything like that, and all of these players from Deontay Johnson to Juju Smith-Schuster still look like players that are worth investing on. No matter where they go, they should do well. The thing that holds me back in Chase Claypool is, again, that this is slightly surprising compared to how good or bad or well his college profile actually looked. Which, is more of a hang-up than an actual statistical argument. But I can only tell you where I am and what my process is and what I tend to do with it. Now, his dynasty value, looking at DLF ADP, which is where I write for and where most of my content gets posted if it's not Patreon or YouTube, is going to have him significantly high. He's going to be a 4th or 5th round pick, if memory serves, in startup drafts this coming off season. And honestly, yeah, despite my hang-ups, I can't say that's a bad value. I think that's going to be a really fair draft price considering the type of rookie season he has, and having a great rookie season is basically the single most important thing you can do as a player as you start your career, and it actually predicts a much higher ceiling for most players. There are some terrible prospects like Kelvin Benjamin, which kind of continue to prove that college profiles should still have some sway or some effect on our opinion. But as John Bosch, again from DLF, was recently posting on Twitter, there's a danger of overreacting and there's a danger of underreacting. You should always try to stay in the middle as a rule and make the right call. So I would personally say that he's at a fair value, but I'm not trading for him because it's too high a price, because I hold on to rookie profiles, and the fact that it looks remarkably strange compared to what he did in college, that's weird to me. The fact that he's relied on rushing production and 2 rushing touchdowns, especially to build his hype early in the season, suggests to me there's a little bit more play in his projected points per game the next season. Talking about that 25th best rookie season overall since 2009, it actually predicts a points per game in the in Claypool's sophomore year, of 13 points per game, which is decent, but it would actually land outside the top 24. Now, that model I created to evaluate rookie seasons is more about assessing rookies against each other rather than projecting actual fantasy points. It's got about a 47 R-squared, adjusted R-squared score of actually projecting fantasy points in sophomore seasons, which is pretty good, but I've made better. So I'm not saying that he's definitely going to get, or is more likely to get 13 points per game instead of, what's he getting this year, 15 points per game. But it is suggesting a slight downturn despite projecting a remarkably good career. So, yeah. That's where I'm at Claypool. He's had an amazing rookie season. He's been a joy to watch, and he's a really good ad, even at second round value for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Right now, it looks to me like they've got 3 players on the depth chart that, it's amazing to have this many good players on a wide receiver depth chart, especially considering the struggles some teams have of even adding one. Damn. But, yeah, I think Juju's the one I want. He's still the one I want. He's still the one I want. He's a guy I've got in my top 12 dynasty rankings. I might even push him up higher. Juju Smith-Schuster, that is. Claypool and Deontay Johnson don't fit that mold for me. Juju, remember, had a better rookie season than Claypool based on this most recent model, or any way that you want to look at it. He had a much better college profile. And even this season on the same depth chart where Claypool had all the run earlier in the season and has rushing touchdowns, Juju is clearly outperforming him. He's doing things that not most wide receivers can do, whereas Claypool's doing something that very few or not all wide receivers can do. But just kind of sixth sensing some variance in that once you combine everything together, from his rookie profile to some limited dependence on rushing in the NFL. I will say, however, though, 2020 has opened up the door for more interest in players that operate a more of a hybrid role. Now, Laviska Shenault, who was also low on in this rookie profile, but he has maintained, again, a 2 to 4 rushing attempt a game kind of threshold. Curtis Samuel, who I mentioned, who's a player from a few draft classes ago that we also kind of thought could play more of a hybrid role. He's finally paying off on that right now. Is that just 2020 variants? I don't think so. I think the NFL is beginning to experiment more with a hybrid-like player. Now, Claypool isn't a hybrid player. He's a wide receiver. The dream of him being a tight end is gone. Like, I can say that firmly. He's an incredibly good wide receiver, and Pittsburgh should use him as a wide receiver. That shouldn't happen. But he is one of these wide receivers with rushing floors or rushing usages, and I would also expect that to continue. However, with all three of these players on the depth chart, Deontay Johnson is clearly the guy that at least Ben Roethlisberger loves to target. He's the one getting the highest target share. He's getting the highest targets per game, or however we want to assess weekly volume floors. He has a slightly higher ADOT than Juju. And these seem to be the players tend to own their ADOTs much more so than it's about the team or the quarterback once you look over a large sample size. So these seem to be the roles they would operate in, which is kind of rougher for Juju. He's in my top 12 because that's what I think of the player. But honestly, moving forward, Deontay's got a slightly higher ADOT and he gets higher volume with it. Juju has to be phenomenal in order to be as productive as he's being right now, which he is, luckily, but that's a rougher road that requires efficiency, which Juju can do, but it's a harder thing to bet on moving forward. Chase Claypool is getting a pretty decent volume role much further down the field, which I think is where the red herring-ishness, and it's not even necessarily as much the rushing profile, but it's more the decent volume roll down the field. I'm not sure how long he can sustain that level of volume at that higher of an ADOT, and that's his role in this three-headed triumvirate of wide receivers in Pittsburgh, and that to me is, I think, where his future could struggle, because that volume could come down. He could still continue to be a good wide receiver, not a phenomenal wide receiver like Juju Smith-Schuster is, and not make up the difference in volume with just that high ADOT, and so his points per game might become a lot more volatile as they normally do, and it feel a lot worse in 2021 than it does right now in 2020, where he is sustaining a higher role at that high level of ADOT. I just think that's going to be harder to maintain. It's not a regression argument. It's literally just trying to read how this many players in the same kitchen, I don't know what metaphor to use here, can maintain these roles, which they're defining for themselves, and how that might work once you get a second swipe at it, once you get a second season at it. So yeah, I see some concern about Chase Claypool's future, but if you disagree on how good Juju is or how good Deontay is, then you should read it very differently. And to be very clear, I consider Chase Claypool a miss. I use my tropes in order to discount him, because there's just so many players in every draft class. You have to find some way to differentiate him. So I probably lowered him a little bit too much based on this, but it was just that late breakout trope, that player who only really did him good in one good season. He met good thresholds if you look at his best careers, but again, the average wide receiver tends to be more predictive. So eating some sour pie, some L's, I don't know what it is on Chase Claypool. I'm really happy to, because again, more good players is good for fantasy. But he, in a great rookie class, I think his value is going to be very fair because he had a phenomenal rookie season. But, to use the metaphor I use on the podcast, I'm not sure it was good enough, or this situation at least is good enough, that I want to walk the miles back. I've already walked away from Chase Claypool, taking him in the third round or whatever. Sorry, I got an alarm because I got another job to go to. But I'm not sure I want to walk all those miles back, or in other words, to invest now at a higher value. I just don't think he's the player in this class I would be spending that value on. But again, his rookie season very much says that could be a big mistake. So if you like him a lot more, yeah, I'm definitely not against spending on that value on Chase Claypool. Personally, I have more interests at that same value level of young players from this class or last class. for different players, who I guess I'll talk about in another video. But yeah, that's my re-up. That's my second look at Chase Claypool, having seen the majority of his first season. Thoroughly impressed. It's been amazing, especially for rookie wide receivers across the board this year. I'm assuming you've enjoyed it too. I hope this... I don't know what you wanted when you asked me to do a reevaluation of Chase Claypool's rookie profile, because his rookie profile is the same. Obviously, he hasn't played in college anymore. And the fact remains, he was underproductive every year except for his final year at age 21, and that's not the trope. That's not the guy. That's just not the guy I'm going to search for, find, or rank higher than other players. And sometimes, Chase Claypool just pushes your face into a lemon pie, and you just have to take it. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed watching him this season. So, hoping to see more, even if it would, make my hit rates look slightly better if you did. Okay, I'm gonna get out of here. Hope that's useful, interesting, or in some way, whatever. We're up to 193 subscribers, I just noticed, on the YouTube channel, which is awesome. Not high enough. One of the problems is that my YouTube channel is just my YouTube channel. It's the one I've been watching videos on for years, and I think, according to some things I've read, you fall out of the algorithm at a certain point, because why bother, rating or pumping everyone's YouTube channel when they're just video watchers or whatever. So where I'm fairly late to the game, and I'm not making a new YouTube channel, yeah, I think we're always going to struggle there, but I do want to kind of push. I'm setting myself a goal of 1,000, just because that's a really big number, in my opinion, on YouTube. And yeah, if you could subscribe, like, whatever, help me out getting there, I'd really appreciate it. The off season's coming, so there should be more YouTube video content coming, I guess, as a new class, right? All right, see you later, and I'll check you out next time. Thanks, bye.
Do you have the time to listen to me?